Time for another HyperForce recap episode 4. We thought we were done with shipping, but nope, today there was another ship. And it included a yellow ranger, or should it say rangers. So they go back to the library to help clean the mess they made while fighting in the library. Funny because they see these books, and apparently in the future they don't really read books. They think that these books should get burned, and well, Chloe thinks that these books should be burned, and Vesper agrees with her, like, yeah, they don't need any books. They have that big computer box thing that, you know, why can't they read their books there? And then Jack is like, no, we need to preserve these books because they might be worth reading in the future and is a part of history themselves. The little girl comes back. Yeah, you remember the little girl from the last episode and the Halloween episode, which I don't think I mentioned her. Well, she comes back and she notices them cleaning up the library and she wants to know what's going on. And Vesper has no chill. She straight up goes, yeah, we're from the future. We just fought an alien attack and these aliens are trying to ruin the planet and kill everyone in it. What you gonna do about it? And then Marvin was like, no. Don't mind her. She is a sci-fi writer, so she's getting inspiration from the events that are happening now. Marvin also tells her that they're from the land of Holly something. What was it? What was the word? Hollywood. They're from the land of Hollywood, and this is a set, so they're taking notes for their sci-fi movie, TV show, or sci-fi project. So once again, Marvin pulls Vesper aside and he tells her that they gotta keep it a secret and they can't tell anyone that they're from the future or it'll ruin the space-time continuum. So they talk about Scorpio's plan, but the little girl's still there and she gets weirded out. So what Chloe and Marvin decide to do is make her an honorary member of the sci-fi project. Now this means that she gets to know what the sci-fi secrets are, so they tell her that since she's a member, she gets to have free candy from Chloe's pockets and also a burrito. Chloe is the burrito girl. But yeah, she tries to give the little girl a burrito and the girl's like, my mom tells me not to get food from strangers. And then Marvin's like, that was the test and you passed. Congratulations, you are now officially from this point on a member of the science fiction club or the sci-fi project. She's like, oh yeah, she gets all happy and she wants someone to read her a book because since she's a new member. And Vesper gets a random book that's on the side and it turns out to be an ancient Roman book and she reads it to the little girl. And while she tries to read it to the little girl, Marvin comes in and is like, wouldn't you rather read the fairy princess book? And she's like, no, I want that book and I want it read by her. And then Vesper, she's like, you know what, long story short, history is boring, the future gets better, and I can't wait for you and your descendants to live in the future. So after Vesper tells her that, the little girl runs off to her parents and explore the library. Back to the gang, and they're talking about what they can do to stop Scorpina and her plans and why she needs Rita. And Chloe remembers that Rita's base is somewhere up on the moon, so they need to find a way to go up there. So they decide to go back to the ship. But before they leave, Vesper's like, I am a fond of that girl. Like, hey, little girl. And then the little girl comes in and is like, what is your name? And she's like, oh, my name's Diana. And then Vesper's like, oh, well, Diana, I hope you live a good life and I hope you reach adulthood where things will be much more fun and I will wait for you in the future. So when they go back to the ship, Alpha has a message for them. But who is this message from? It's from the one, the only, Zordon. So they get a message from Zordon, and Zordon pretty much tells them that y'all better not mess this up. I want the Power Ranger timeline to be good. Jack tells them that they're trying to make everything the same and not ruin anything that would screw up the time. So what Zordon does is that he suggests that they'll need help from a ranger from this time. Chloe and Eddie are really excited and they want to break the rules that they've made. Marvin and Jack don't want to break the rules. They don't want any help because they don't want to ruin the space-time continuum. But Zordon's like, it's okay, don't worry. I told her already that if you guys shouldn't say too much and she'll know what to do. So while they're talking to Zordon, the door behind them open and it's none other than the special guest for this episode. Drum rolls please. Aisha, the mighty Morphin Yellow Ranger. She is back. She's ready to help new future rangers. The moment she walks in, someone falls in love with her. You already know who it is. He's smooth, he's blue, he's Eddie. Eddie immediately falls in love with her. So Alpha at this point gets excited and tells Aisha that they're from the future, but Zordon quickly tells them, like, don't tell her too much because it'll you know, ruin the space-time continuum. She meets everyone and Jack tells her the mission that they're doing. Eddie tells her that Scorpina wants Rita's clays and they need to find a way to get to the moon. Aisha suggests to use their Zords, but since they're still new, they don't have any Zords. She suggests that they need to find where in the moon, because the moon is a big place, as we all know, but they need to go somewhere specifically on the moon. Chloe suggests that maybe one of the books from the library has energy left from the battle they had, and maybe it can pinpoint a location where the base can be. So she decides to go, and Vesper decides to tag along. And this is where it gets funny. This is where it gets hilarious. Every character in this has a special ability. Like Morphin has charisma, Vesper has tech, Chloe has stealth. Sometimes they forget about their abilities, like Chloe and Vesper. So when they're in the library, they see that there's yellow tape everywhere and the cops are there investigating. So Chloe and Vesper think of a plan to sneak in and try to get a book. So Chloe and Vesper think of a plan, and their plan is that Chloe to be the distraction while Vesper uses her stealth abilities to sneak in and get the book. So Chloe comes in as a distraction and throws a bunch of candy in the air from Halloween, and a cop comes up to her and starts chatting her up, and at this point they start flirting. So while that's happening, Vesper is like, okay, time for me to sneak in the library and get that book. But since she doesn't have stealth, she's not very stealthy. She's on the communication device on her morpher and just talking like, okay, I'm walking in. Okay, I'm in the building. I'm gonna crawl on all fours and try to sneak in and get the book. And everyone's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I am sneaking in. My abilities to sneak is off the charts. I will get the book. I will get the mission done. Chloe's just chatting up the cop. They're just like flirting, like, oh, where you from? You know, oh, I'm from this place. You know, oh, my favorite color is pink, rainbows, blues, blue, unicorn, whatever. Vesper sees a bunch of books that are destroyed. She sees the book that she was reading to Diana, the ancient Roman book. And then she goes on her communicator again and she tells Chloe, Chloe, you are my best friend and I'm glad you're my friend. So I want to know if you want a gift. And that gift is if you want anything from this library. And Chloe's like, oh yeah, you know what? A comic book from this time would be cool. So Vesper's like, okay, I will get you a comic book. My mission is to retrieve 3 books. My ancient Roman book, your comic book, and a book with a hole that has the energy. So the moment she walks in, she sees a pile of books, and in the middle there's a comic book, and she can't really get it because if she does, it's gonna fall down and make some noise and people are gonna notice that she's in there. So she tells Chloe, too bad, I can't get you a comic book, but I did get my ancient Roman book, and here is a book with holes. I'm gonna get these 2 and get out. So she gets out of the library, and Chloe is still chatting with the cop. So Vesper's like, okay, Chloe's in trouble. She is talking to a cop and there's no end in sight. So what should I do? So they tell her just like think of anything that will distract the cops. So what Vesper does is she whips out her blaster and shoots a bush. When she does that, the cops see that there's like a little bright light shining, and they see that there's probably a fire coming out of the bush. So they rush to it while Vesper gets Chloe and like, alright, I got the books. Let's run and teleport back to the ship. So they're back in the ship and they're wondering what took them so long, and they were like, you know what, shut up. This was our mission and we did it, so be grateful. And they're like, alright. Alpha tells Vesper to hand over them, but Vesper is like, I'm gonna give you one of these books and the ancient Rome book is mine. But Alpha says that the more energy we have, the better to finding the location. So Vesper has to give up her ancient Roman book, and she gives this little like little face, and she's like, I promise you'll give it back to me. It was such an adorable face, and Alpha's like, yes, you'll get them back. So at this time they want to show Aisha where they train, and they show her the pocket dimension. The pocket dimension is a place where you train, but it also uses your imagination. So whatever you want the battlefield is, it will happen. Chloe and Marvin have been training there before, so they show Aisha and the gang how it works. And Chloe wants a field of clouds with rainbows on them, and they all jump in and have a great time. So this is where the ship happens again. Jack and Aisha, they're both Yellow Rangers, and they have good chemistry. Whenever they do teamwork attacks, they successfully do it, and people in the chat go crazy. They ship them. Jaisha. So Aisha tells them, like, in order to be good rangers, you need to work as a team, make sure the civilians are safe, and never force yourself into battle. So while they're thinking of a scenario to do, they have 3 civilians. Aisha tells them, since you're in our time, the chances are you'll be fighting the monsters we're facing. So they have the Putty Patrol, and they have Pudgy the Pig. You remember, I think that's his name, Pudgy the Pig, the giant pig head that just has arms and legs. he comes back for this training exercise. So during that, they had a little montage, and during that time, Marvin asked Alpha if the computer was done reading the energy, and Alpha's like, yes, it's done, and it pinpoint the location to Europe, specifically Rome. So they're wondering if Alpha could teleport them to Europe, but Alpha says that's too far. So he teleports them to the Angel Grove Mountains. Why? So Aisha can summon the Zord and use it to go to Rome. So she summons the Zord, and the saber-tooth tiger sword comes out. And then Eddie was like, I heard that you can also make your sword transform. And Aisha like, that is correct. Do you want to see it? And Eddie is getting excited, and she's like, alright. So Aisha is like, saber-tooth tiger griffin Zord. And then it transforms to the griffin, and then everyone's getting excited. So she tells everyone to hop on and we'll go to Rome. So Vesper wants to drive the Zord, and Aisha's like, yeah, sure. Maybe during the free time, maybe I'll let you drive it. Vesper asks Aisha if she's able to take pictures to make, you know, maybe hopefully one day she gets to understand it better. And she's like, yeah, by all means. So she takes a picture of Chloe, and when she takes the picture, they see yellow energy coming out of the Zord, and they're wondering what that is. So they arrive at Rome, and they're like, you know, we can't really be out in public like this, so maybe we'll go hide it in like a near forest. The first thing Vesper sees is something called a liquor store, but she thinks it's pronounced liquor store. Chloe thinks that this is where they sell licorice, so she wants to explore. And Jack is like, Chloe, I don't think it's a good idea for you to explore. Like, please stay with us as a team. And Chloe has the sass to be like, you're not my father, Jack. I can do whatever I want. And I'm like, technically he is your dad. He is the oldest out of all of you guys, so you have to respect his authority. So that energy pinpoints the location in the Colosseum in Rome, and they don't know how to get there. But luckily for them, there's a tour bus near, and they are accepting people to go inside. You know what? Why not? It'll most likely lead them to the Colosseum. The bus does lead them to the Colosseum, so when they get off, they see the Colosseum that's in front of them. But Chloe has sights for something else. She sees someone selling gelato up in the streets. So they're thinking of a way how to avoid these people, how they can make these people not go inside the Colosseum or the catacombs. So what Marvin does is pretend he is a cop from Russia with his Russian accent for some reason, and sees someone from Interpol from that section, and tells them like, yes sir, I want to know if you would like to help me, like we need to investigate the catacombs of Rome and make sure everything is okay. And then the guy's like, yes, I don't know, I mean everything looked fine like a minute ago when I gave a tour down there. Marvin's ability is charisma, so he was able to convince him to help. So he's like, yes, please help me and my team, we'll investigate really quick, it'll take us less than a few hours. Chloe comes in with gelato and was like, yes, we'll give you this gelato if you help. And then the guy's like, is that pistachio gelato? Like, yes, it's really good. He goes, okay, I'll take you guys in, you guys can investigate inside, I'll make sure no one goes inside. So they see something in the distance, like a torch in the distance in the catacombs, because catacombs are like a narrow path. So they see a light in the distance, and Eddie uses his flashlight that he has in his. Chloe decides to use her ability the correct way and use her stealth to see what is up ahead. And so she goes up and she sees a gray body. She sees that gray creature or body go inside this room, and she looks inside the room. And inside the room, there are putties all around it, and there's a creature with white fur and apron. Who can this be? It's none other than Finster. She hears that Finster wasn't appreciated enough by Rita, and said, so Finster's there creating his creatures, just crying and weeping and saying like, oh, you know, I wasn't appreciated enough. I love what I do, but these creatures are, you know, this is my art, but you know, no one appreciates them. So Vesper suggests that they can go talk to him. They say that Eddie, since he knows the history of Power Rangers, that he should go and talk to him. Vesper tells Eddie like, before you go, use my machine that can see 20 seconds into the future. So she teaches Eddie how to use it, and it's like, alright, so you press this button, it'll show you 20 seconds into the future. So they see into the future, and they see that Finster just wants to talk, that he's just depressed and needs someone to be there. So everyone for some reason decides to go along with Eddie and just corner him and talk to him, which I think is a bad idea. When someone's sad, it should at least be one person to talk to someone, not a whole gang. It feels like they're cornered. So they start telling him nice things. They all go in and tell him like, oh, you have art, you have skills, this is art, it's beautiful, you know, who cares what other people think as long as you're happy with your work. And Finster sees Aisha in the group, so the moment he sees her, Jack goes in front of Aisha and is like, yeah, you should definitely do something with this art. Spread it out, make sure other people see it. Finster is like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do what you guys told me and make my art for myself. So he tells Marvin, like, what's your biggest fear? And Marvin's like, my biggest fear is not being strong enough for my team or to my friends, just not being good enough. So Finster decides to make a clay monster, and it's a giant putty that makes fun of Marvin, like, haha, you're not good enough, you're gonna lose, your teammates don't like who you are. And Marvin just becomes sad, like full on sad. So Eddie's like, you know what, I heard what happened, I heard that Rita and Zed weren't appreciating you enough, so that's why you decide to come here to be alone. You are a great artist. During that, the bully putty was throwing skulls at Marvin, like, you're a failure, no one likes you. So Chloe defends Marvin, is like, you're stop being a bully. And Finster asks Chloe, what's your biggest fear? And Chloe's just like, my biggest fear is unicorns and sparkles. So Marvin decides to actually defend himself. So he tells, like, I'm not a failure, everyone loves me, and pushes the putty bully. And they're like, alright, you know what, Finster, we like you, just come with us, you'll be safe, we will appreciate you. So they exit to the Coliseum. But when they enter the Coliseum arena, people are there waiting for them, and it's Scorpina and Vulcanus there waiting for Finster and gang. Marvin defends Finster and tells them that, no, leave him alone, he's with us. You guys are gonna be like Rita and Zed, you guys aren't gonna appreciate his art like we do. Bully Putty comes back and like looks evil, and then Marvin tells Finster, like, you decide what your art is. If you want your art to be good, then it will be good. Just don't make them do bad things. And Finster and sees Scorpina, and Scorpina is just giving him a stare, and Finster betrays the Rangers. He goes to Scorpina and Vulcanus. As soon as Finster betrays the Rangers knows what they have to do. They know that they're gonna have to fight. So it's Morphin time. So alongside Finster, Scorpina, and Vulcanus, the monster for this episode was the sculptor, another artist like Finster, but he sculpts them, and he makes three monsters, three minion monsters, so they fight. So it's the three sculpted monsters, the Bully Putty, Finster, Vulcanus, and Scorpina. Vesper destroys one of the sculpted monsters. Jack destroys another. The Bully Putty goes up to Marvin, tries to bully him again, but Marvin pulls out Naruto moment and was like, no, my friends need me, I will become more than they expect me to be. And that scares off the Bully Putty, and Marvin hits him in the chest and he's gone. So Chloe and Aisha, they team up, and boom, they destroy another sculpted minion. So Scorpina notices Aisha, so what she does is Scorpina goes up to Aisha and starts attacking, but the good and awesome ranger that Aisha is, she starts deflecting them every hit that Scorpina does. So when she is able to get away, Aisha goes up to Eddie and throws Eddie to Vulcanus while she rushes back to Scorpina. And when she goes back to Scorpina, she summons her saber-tooth daggers. Eddie tries attacking Vulcanus, but he ends up just blocking and deflecting his attacks. So Vulcanus decides to escape and goes up to Finster and steal his clay. So Vulcanus goes up to Finster and steals his clay, but Marvin's like, no, that is your clay and your clay only. You're the only one that can use it. Don't let anyone else take it from you. But as Marvin's saying that, Vulcanus decides to make a gladiator monster to attack. But this isn't a normal size monster. This is like those giant monsters that we all know and love from Power Rangers. So since the monster is there, they don't know how to fight it off. So Aisha's like, you know what, I'm gonna bring in my Zord and hopefully we don't destroy anything around us. Marvin remembers what Aisha said, in that civilians should always be out of danger. So Marvin and Chloe decide to leave the Coliseum and make sure the area is clear. When they go outside, they see their friend again. So Marvin pulls up a Russian accent again and tells them that we need to leave this area and make sure everything is gone. And the guy's like, I already helped you once before, like, why do I need to help you again? He goes, please, people are in danger, we need to leave this area out. And Chloe sees the gelato cart and was like, you know what, I have an idea. So what she does is she steals the gelato cart and pushes it somewhere else, and she's like, alright, follow me if you want gelato. So the whole crowd just follows along with her, and they clear the area. So Aisha and the others go and get the Zord, and they're inside, and Aisha looks at Vesper and is like, I'll give you the honors to drive my Zord. and Vesper gets really excited, but she remembers from the picture yellow energy coming out, and she realizes that she can't drive it. She looks at Aisha and is like, I appreciate what you're trying to do for me, but sadly I cannot be the one driving it. So she looks at Jack and is like, Jack, you're the one who's going to be able to drive it. Jack and Aisha, you both use your power to drive the Zord. Everyone is into Zord except for Marvin and Chloe. They're outside and trying to see what they can do to help. Jack and Aisha use their power to attack with like full-on force. They ram into the monster. They do anything they can. Marvin and Chloe decide to use their tag team attack multiple times, but they just end up failing. Scorpina and Vulcanus decide to leave because the only reason why they're here is to get Finster's Clay, and they succeeded in their mission. Marvin and Chloe go inside the Megazord, and this is where they all use their powers together to attack. They decide to make a giant fireball and use that power to defeat the gladiator monster. So they're all gathering their energy and it's about to shoot. Eddie is the smart one, so he decides to use his trident and put it in the middle, so when they shoot the fire blast, it'll split into two. With that blast, they eventually defeat the gladiator monster, and I think Vesper was like, ha, now you're a sadiator. After they defeat the gladiator monster, Vesper decides to go on top of the Coliseum, look upon the civilians and be like, we're the Power Rangers and we just saved you. Okay, bye. And just books it. Like, what? If you're gonna do something like that, you have to stay there and wait for the applauses to come. So when Vesper leaves, people actually do cheer, and people know about the Power Rangers. They're like, oh my god, it's them. They're the ones who save people. They're all over the news. Like, we know who they are. So they all hop into Saber-Tooth Tiger Zord and go off to Angel Grove again. So when they're back in the HyperForce ship, Zordon's there with the message saying thank you for everything. Like, you've done your mission. Like, even though it wasn't really a success, thank you for helping Rome, the people in Rome. You did a good job, but it's time for someone to leave, and that person is Aisha. So they all say their goodbyes. Chloe gives Aisha a burrito. And she's like, oh, share this with your teammates and I'll make sure they enjoy it. But Zordon's like, no, her teammates cannot know that she did this. So when she goes back to her teammates, she will speak nothing of this. And Chloe's like, alright, that's fine. More burrito for you. They all thank her and they know that they won't see her again. Since she had the most chemistry with Jack, since they're both Yellow Rangers, they had the saddest goodbye. Like, thank you for everything, my yellow fellow ranger. You were one of the best rangers I ever worked with. And Aisha's like, yeah, you too. Like, I hope you guys finish your mission. And they shake hands. And as soon as they shake hands, she starts to disappear and teleport back to Angel Grove. That's when people started like feeling sad, because they shipped these two throughout the episode. They just had a good chemistry. But what people don't understand is that during this time, Aisha was still in high school. She was a teenager still, because this takes place during Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So she's still a teen, but you know, maybe one day she'll grow up and time travel to the future to see Jack once again. But yeah, people really ship them. Even in the episode, Marvin and Chloe was like, I ship him. And they just like started crying, and it was just a beautiful moment. And that's where the episode ends. Who knows what's gonna happen next? Stay tuned for more HyperForce recaps. I don't know how to say this. Like, I really want to do these. Like, I really want to talk, but I like, these take a lot of time to do, since I'm also busy with school and work. But hopefully during winter break that's coming up, I will have more time to do these more. I'll push out more videos. I will keep doing this. I will try to make these more entertaining to watch. I'll try to edit these as much as I can to make them more enjoyable by putting background music. Like episode 3, I enjoyed editing because I put happy music during the montage. So hopefully I can do the same with here. I can do the same here. Also, if you guys play Power Rangers Legacy War, I finally made a line. So if you guys want to be a part of that, the name will be down here. It's called Legendary Hype. So make sure you look for it. I also made a Twitter account, so if you guys want to see me talk about Power Rangers and talk about other stupid stuff, then give me a follow. It's at Venzik. So it's VENXLK. Venzik was already taken, so I had to get creative and make sure I got the name I wanted. So it's at capital V, capital E, capital N, capital X, lowercase l, capital K, at Venzik. So make sure you follow the right guy. Thanks for watching. Like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share it if you guys want to, and as always, have a great day or night or wherever you are. Okay, bye.